This Craftsman Truck and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series final predictions edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, and you get $20 free with promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, promo code SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and we first and foremost got done with an actual race yesterday. If you weren't with us last night to recap what was probably the most chaotic and oddly satisfying Clash race in recent memory, go back, listen to that episode. That was fun. Finally got calls in. But, Cody, we are ticking off the days now till the Daytona 500. This is like the last weekend that we'll have no actual, after this, there will be racing, and it'll be Daytona, baby.
After this, we're in it, Rod. We're in it deep. 10 days until the Daytona 500. Single digits tomorrow. Let's go. The Super Bowl is finally almost here. My New England Patriots, of course, playing in that. So yeah, we're full on. It's going to be full on race season, and we're not going to stop. I want to say Cup has 1 week off. Is it around Easter maybe again this year? But we won't be taking time off because, well, first of all, we never do that. And second of all, the other series will still be racing. So I think that puts us near 38 weekends of racing in a row for NASCAR in general, right? You got the 36 regular season, the All-Star race in there. So yeah, it's beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful. Cannot wait to just start breaking down the season. But there's still some odds and ends that we've got to tie up a little bit. There actually are now available to us odds to speculate on the Truck Series champion and the O'Reilly Series champions. There's some win totals out there that we did not get to discuss as we were wrapping up the rest of the, I guess, off-season material, but that's what we'll do today. So Cody and I are going to lay out the 10 drivers from the Craftsman Truck Series and the 12 drivers rather from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series that we think are going to make the final chase. And then, of course, give you some win totals and our actual championship predictions. That is the plan for today because, like we said, they're available now, and it'll be fun to speculate. Cody and I were just talking about it just before we jumped on that for the Craftsman Truck Series, right? There's 10 drivers that'll make the final, what do we say, 7 races?
7 races, yep.
7 races of the chase. So that was hard to take away drivers. 10 drivers is not a lot. So it's hard to leave drivers off of the list. But then when it turned to the O'Reilly Series to try to pick the 12 drivers, it was hard to put the other 2 drivers in the last couple of spots. So it's a weird situation you put yourself in when you're trying to pick these chase drivers.
To our point of last year, right, where we said the O'Reilly Series is a little bit weaker. I think that kind of continues this year. But the Truck Series absolutely loaded. And then you think about all the full-time guys that we have to talk about that we're going to talk about here But all the part-time guys just announced today, Carson Hocevar, Rod, got a contract extension into the next decade. That's absolutely incredible to hear and great for him. But coming along with it, 13 truck races this year. He's still within that first 3 years of his full-time Cup Series career, so no limit for him to be able to run prior to the chase. So 13 races in the trucks with Carson Hocevar this year. There's just going to be so much Carson Hocevar talk. And after such an impressive run this week at the Clash of Bowman Gray, Rod, I'm just more and more excited for the 77 season.
My thoughts as I try to just puke down or swallow down all this puke that's building up. Right after I remind you that the Sports Gambling Podcast, all of our guys over there on the big show, they're giving out 60 bets for Super Bowl 60. That is a massive amount of bets. Please do not miss out on any of those. Again, that menu is huge. Pick what you want and have some fun with them. But yeah, listen, getting back to Hocevar, I as much as I continually make this bit now about me not liking him very much and very often for that matter, this does really put a gigantic just twist into the truck series now, because we know that he was a dominant truck driver, right? He was up there with the Eckeses and the Heims of the world, and obviously it was his series when he was down in there. So to now have as stacked a truck series as we've got, and then to put Hocevar in there for 13 races, I mean, all you're missing now, Cody, is having Heim in there to mix things up.
And he's
right?
already, Heim's already been announced will be at Atlanta, so that's the second race of the season. You would imagine there continues to be more races where he gets added in. We've seen, this Ram free agent truck is going to bring in some people. Certainly, we've seen a lot of people entered for Daytona. Now we got news today that Cletus McFarland is going to be attempting to make that race, in addition to all these other people that have been added to it. So this truck series, the full-time drivers alone, and the chase is going to be so exciting with them. But then all of the part-timers we're going to see, the guys like Dario Franchitti, Jimmy Johnson, that are going to be racing in the truck series this year. It's going to be exciting. We have, is it 4? No, I think it's more than the Cup Series. I think there's 6 road courses / street courses, 2 street courses on the Craftsman Truck Series schedule this year. Like, it's going to be so insane from a betting aspect. Because road courses for the Truck Series are just absolutely nuts. It's going to be really, really great.
Well, and so when you're watching the Dodge race for the seat, a lot of them bring that up too, especially they're like, wow, there's going to be 6 road races in this. There's a couple of those guys that are road course specialists in that series. And so they talk about having a leg up when it comes to these road courses. And, like you said, Cody, this all-star truck that they're rolling out there for these road courses, they could bring in some of these chase for the seat guys that have these road course experience to drive that truck.
Yeah, certainly. I do think that some of those guys, even whoever doesn't win the full-time seat, I think that some of those guys have probably, at least through what I've seen through the show, earned their opportunities to jump into that ride kind of throughout the season. So that's going to continue to be a fun story to watch as we go along.
Yeah, and again, like you said, with Carson Hocevar, 13 of 25 races that he'll be able to compete in. It's insane to think of what we are going to be. It's just appointment television at this point now. The Craftsman Truck Series is appointment television this season.
And, when we get to the chase, we've never had the chase before. So if you go back, similar to the Winston Cup, they ran regular points. And then even when the Winston Cup or the Nextel Cup at the time it was, as it changed there, went to the chase format originally with the 10 races, what would they have been? Would they have been nationwide? They might have still been Busch Series, whatever. The O'Reilly Series now, and the Truck Series didn't follow suit with the chase format. They continued to go with the season-long points. Then when it turned into playoffs down the road, that's when they shifted over and also began to run the playoffs. So we've never actually seen the chase format in these 2 lower series, which we could get some runaways, certainly. One guy in particular in the O'Reilly Series could potentially just destroy everybody in the chase, which we'll talk about in a few. But I think that's going to be really exciting, especially in the Truck Series with the loaded field we have. It's going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun to keep an eye on. And, like we said, the final couple of spots, we were just hard pressed to try to figure out, well, who can we put in? Who do we leave off? And can we justify leaving this person off and putting them in? So it's, when we get into the discussion of who we picked, it goes, the playoffs is one thing, having all the cars, all the trucks in the playoffs is one thing, but having to pick 10 drivers just for the chase is yet another. TK is backing your boy Hocevar, huh?
Love to see Hocevar locked into the 77, and we'll still somehow see rumors of him moving into the 48. Quote unquote, Hendrick will buy out his contract. Well, I already posted on the X and in the Discord earlier, TK, that this was a smart move by Spire because now Mr. H just has to pay more to get Hocevar in the 48. So I will continue to spread those rumors in the good word of getting my man into a Hendrick car.
I'm not sure.
Can you imagine, sure. Rod?
No,
as a Jimmy Johnson fan, if Carson Hocevar goes to the 48 car, you'll have no choice. You'll have to root for him.
No, I do. I have plenty of choice, my friend. This world is full of choices, and I would choose. I just don't know what I do with all my 48 gear. Like I would have
to just ship it to me. It probably won't fit because I'm a lot bigger than you, but
I'd have to mothball that stuff, man. It would feel so wrong. Like all of my 48 die casts, I'd have to make sure that I tell you it's Jimmy, it's not Carson. Because then I don't know what I do with myself. I wouldn't.
That's funny. All right, one piece of news, and then we can get into the picks, Rod. NASCAR has tweaked the Daytona 500 qualifying for the open cars. The top 2 open cars in single car qualifying are locked in and aren't racing for the spot allotted to the top car open in each duel. The remaining open cars will race for the one spot available. So essentially, we know that there is 36 drivers. The chartered drivers are all locked in, right? So they've got their 36 starting spots. The 41st spot is locked in with Jimmy Johnson. He's already opted to take the provisional, not earning points, not earning purse money. So 1 through 36 is locked in, 41's locked in. That gives us, right now we have 8 registered cars or cars that we know have announced. They'll be running possibly more coming to that for the 4 other open spots. So they will qualify on Wednesday of Daytona 500 week, single car qualifying. That will lock in the front row. If you qualify first, you will start on the pole for the Daytona 500. If you qualify second, you will start on the front row for the Daytona 500. Then the 2 fastest of the open cars, and I think this is a huge advantage for Corey LaJoie in an RFK car. I love to see this. Whoever those 2 fastest cars are, they're locked in. Now, they were sort of kind of locked in before under the old rules. They could fall back on the time, whatever, but now they'll just be locked in. So when we go to the duels on Thursday, we will now have 1 through 38 locked in, along with 41, and we will just be filling in duel 1, the best open finisher gets the other starting spot, the 39th entry rather, and then in duel 2, the best finishing open car will get the 40th entry, and then we'll have our field of 41. So makes it very easy. Now, those guys will not have to start in the back. They can start wherever they qualify, either in regular qualifying or in the duels as they set the lineups. But so that's a minor tweak that they had this year that came out today. So I think that's a good change.
We'll see it play out. I can't see anything wrong with it. In fact, I think it rewards cars, and like you said, kind of maybe gives a couple other folks out there better opportunity to try to advance, because with so many open cars and so many people that year after year try to make the Daytona 500, unfortunately, sometimes it feels, especially if you're in one of those small teams that almost doesn't have a prayer of making it. Now you just got to be the best open car in the duel and lock yourself in, right? And that's I like that. I like the change. I hope it plays out the way it's supposed to play out. And I can see nothing wrong with it.
I think so.
I think so as well. All right, it's time to start picking some of our favorites from the Craftsman Truck Series, and we'll start with that one. But before we do, I want to tell you about our friends over at Kalshi. Kalshi, a real money prediction market legal in all 50 states. Kalshi has a ton of trading options for the big game, including sides, totals, props, halftime performances even. You can, figure out which one of Bad Bunny's songs is going to start the halftime show, and so much more. Besides sports, they've got tons of other markets, including politics, entertainment, hell, you can even trade on the weather with Kalshi. You can pretty much trade on anything. Let's settle in, though, on the big game on Sunday. How about a Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown? There are trading options on that right now. The yes is trading for 63 cents, the no for 38 cents. If you think Kenneth Walker is going to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, a $100 investment will bring back $159 to you when Kenneth Walker scores a touchdown. New Kalshi customers get $20 when they use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. We are also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is the #1 social sports book and casino out there, available in 35 or more states, including Texas and, yes, California. How about you get in on the action with Rebet? Plus, get a 100% purchase match up to $100 with promo code SGPN. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. Impressed with the number of markets that Rebet has. There are a ton of options out there for you. And you know me, I love to dig deep. I saw some food stall out there. I saw some Gaelic sports out there. So, yeah, deep dives. I love it. So go check them out.
Yeah, right down Rod's alley. And our buddy, Adam Pelletier, by the way, doing an Olympic gambling podcast throughout the Olympics here. So make sure you check that out and give him a follow. I heard he hit a 4-leg parlay on the first episode on, I think it was on curling, which Adam is very much an expert in. So that checks.
Speaking of experts, let me take this opportunity to remind you also that we are partnered up with Win the Race. Ryan and Greg out there with Win the Race. They are crushing it with their analytics, with their research. You too can get in on the action with them. Join them at Win the Race. And listen, you're not going to regret it. Those guys doing such a hard job, hard work, compiling numbers that, buddy, I'm glad they're doing it because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, me too. I just got signed up today and was just like starting to play around over there, and that's quite the playground. So if you're looking, if you're one of those people and there's a lot of people that like to see the numbers and dig in deeper and do all that stuff, go check out Win the Race. It's a great place to get all that extra data. They do all the simulations, all that fun stuff. So and we'll be using a lot of that as we make our picks throughout the season, which is going to be a very nice, helpful tool to have.
Thousands of simulations, thousands. It's amazing. All right. I don't need any simulations to try to convince myself that there will be 10 good truck drivers this season. As we pretty much said, the entire field is chock full of good drivers. And so as we settle in to try to figure out what the postseason is going to look like, Cody, we each made our list of drivers that we think are going to be in the chase format. So my idea, Cody, is you read off the drivers, because we're going to have a couple of repeats on them for sure. Mm-hmm. And we'll just kind of go down there and kind of one
you
by
can say
one.
If you have them too, we could talk about each one. Love it. That's actually kind of the format I was thinking of too. So, and this year we actually wrote down the picks and made it easier instead of trying to pick it as we go along, which has been fun, but it was good to give it the thought going into it. So just a reminder, again, if you're catching up to things, getting back to speed, NASCAR has gone away from the playoff format. The playoff format is no more. It's back to similar to the original chase from back in 2004 when they switched over to that format, and again, introducing it into the lower series. So for the Truck Series, it's 25 races, right, total, Rod? So the first 20, oh, Jesus, I got to do math. The first 18 races of the season will be your traditional regular, you earn points, right? After 18 races, they will just take the top 10 drivers in the series. They will reseed them. They will seed them based on where you're. So if you're first, you get the first place points. They get points. There's no longer playoff points that you're earning throughout the season. That's no longer a thing. There's no more win and you're in. There's no more waivers. Like if you're missing races, you just have to make up the points, all that type of stuff. So we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's just go out and be the best 10 cars at the end of the 18 races. Boom, you're in the chase. And then no eliminations when we get to the chase. None of that stuff. It's in the Truck Series, 7 races. You go out, best guy over the 7 races plus the points you start with, will be crowned the champion. So simple as that. So we'll begin. We'll start at the top here. My first driver to make the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series chase in 2026, Grant Enfinger, Rod, in the number 9. A veteran, obviously a traditional perennial playoff driver. I don't see any reason he doesn't keep that going. And make the new postseason, the chase, this year.
So that's the thing about him, man. He's been rock steady. I don't foresee him slipping at all. And Grant Enfinger is just one of those guys that's going to continue to just be good. And the chase, it definitely rewards being absolutely consistent and being a driver that is going to be in the top 5 conversation each and every week. And that's just what Grant Enfinger is, right? We talked about him so much last season as a top 5 pick. It almost just was redundant. We almost could just replay the week before because that's what Grant Enfinger was going to be. He ended up finishing 7th in the points overall, but 14 top 10 finishes, 7 top 5 finishes, his average finish of 12.2. That's what you need to make it to the end. And he's just going to continue to do that. And I can't see that slowing down at all for him this season either.
Yeah. I mean, he was the easy one to put on the list right away because you just chalk him up to being in the postseason, whatever it looks like every single year. So somebody that made the postseason last year, made the Final Four, RIP to that. But Caden Honeycutt, he's taking over the number 11 truck from Corey Heim. Obviously, we know how good that truck has been. Honeycutt looked very good in the Nice truck to start the season, switches over to the 52 to fill in for Stuart Friesen after Friesen's injury. Looked really good. Made it to the Final Four, had a shot at the championship at the end of the day. Now, stepping in and filling the big shoes of Corey Heim. Is he going to be as successful as Corey Heim was? It's a pretty high bar. It's hard to see that happening, especially in the field we're going to see this season. But just making the chase, I think that's, again, an easy guy to pencil in near the top in such a great ride. Having the success he had last year he actually raced for 3 teams because he made a start in another car, Chevy, Toyota, a little bit of everything. So yeah, Caden Honeycutt easily going to make the chase for me this year as well.
And that was my biggest factor of it all too. The guy literally did it in whatever he was in, right? I mean, he had to overcome the hardship of being let go from his team because he was jumping ship at the end of the year anyways. And they were like, all right, well, go ahead and try to find success somewhere else. And Stuart Friesen was like, hey, bud, this 52 seats open, bring it over here, finish out your season here. And he did so impressively the last stretch of the season that you can't, now that he's in the best truck in the entire field, it's hard pressed to keep him out of any sort of postseason conversation. And whether that's a chase, whether that's a win and in, I know he didn't win any races last year, but I mean, he's in the 11 truck. A win. Yeah. I think that truck just is going to win by itself, no matter if he's driving it or not.
Like they say, your car, you drive the same route so often, and your car will just start driving itself. Well, that truck knows its way to victory lane, Rod.
easily. So yeah, Caden Honeycutt, definitely a guy we couldn't leave off the list.
Brother Hayden Honeycutt, not as good, but that's okay. I know you almost did it, Rod. So, or cousin, I guess. They don't have the same last name, whatever. All right, next up for me, the first Ram driver to make the chase. I'm going to go with Justin Haley. He's coming down from the Cup Series. We've seen this a few times with some drivers resetting themselves. Worked out pretty well for Ryan Preece this past weekend, picking up a win in the Cup Series but he's coming back down. Colleague he's very familiar with, obviously. Raced with them in the Cup Series even. We don't exactly know what we'll get out of Ram this year, so I could definitely see some concern. One of the positives, they're all Ilmor engines for all of the trucks, so we don't have to worry about can Dodge figure out the engine program part of things. They're just running the same engines everybody else is running, which are all made by Chevy, funny enough, sort of, kind of. But anyways, so body, we'll see, right? How does it work on the drafting tracks? What does it look like a 1.5 miles? That'll certainly be in question everywhere else. I'm not too worried about it anyways. I think they'll figure it out. I think that Justin Haley can be one of the best 10 drivers after 18 races. So I've got Justin Haley piloting his Ram truck into the chase.
I can see it. I can. Honestly, I'm not dogging at all. But he didn't make my list. He was one of those guys where I was like, he could be on it or he could miss it completely. Like it's just that was the difference between me and him. So
from Cup guy to missing the chase.
Well,
the story of Justin Haley.
The only reason is because there's all these full-time guys that were full-time guys last year that really are going to make this a crowded field. And then you throw guys like Carson Hocevar who could just mess things up altogether. So, yes, I think he can, but he was one of those guys where I really wrestled with it. Instead, Cody, I'm picking Daniel Dye, another Ram driver, another colleague Ram driver, because for Daniel Dye, this is Daniel Dye's world, right? Daniel Dye is a lower series guy for now. He didn't have Cup aspirations yet. He had to come back down to the trucks again to sort of reset himself again. But we also know that sometimes these guys, the series that they're in is the series that they're supposed to be in, right? And I think Daniel Dye isn't trying to prove that he can be a Cup Series driver quite yet. I think he's just trying to prove that he can be a consistent driver. Dodge is giving him that opportunity. He's getting back in the series again after being up in the Xfinity, now O'Reilly series, right? And I feel like he's probably going to be one of the guys that breaks through and take this Ram team to the next level. I think Haley will do, obviously him and Haley will be, right there with each other. But for some reason, I'm just feeling Daniel Dye this year. And I think he could be in the top 10 and maybe spearhead that Ram program by the end of the season.
Rod, blink twice if Michael Waltrip is holding you hostage right now.
What I really want is just all the fantastic camera angles that Daniel Dye is all season.
Give me Justin Haley over Daniel Dye all day long, and twice on Friday nights, but that's okay. Next up, Gio Ruggerio coming back in that 17 truck. Obviously had a very, very impressive season earlier. There is a couple of win totals out there now. His win total set at 1.5, so books definitely see him doing a little bit of work. I see him doing some work as well. He was impressive, right? The guys in the Discord were really on him a ton last year, and I think that's going to continue this year. But we saw him kind of putting it together, and really broke out at the end of last year. You really saw what he's capable of, setting the truck on the pole multiple times. He found victory lane as well. So he's already busted through and done it. I think that we're going to see another strong, solid year from him. Again, one of those Tricon trucks that's been one of the better trucks. I think that he'll find his way into the chase, and I've got him on there, and I believe he made your list as well.
Absolutely. Best team in the garage right now. Best drivers in the field right now, in my opinion, as well. And, for him, now that Heim is gone, I feel like that shadow is pretty much lifted over this entire team, and they can go out and start winning races that Corey Heim was putting down. And we talked about how many wins are left on the table for the rest of the series now that Corey Heim is gone. Gio Ruggerio, that over is tempting. But I think it's minus money, right? I think they actually put it.
It's minus 130 to the over. Yeah. So even more of a case for Gio to make the chase. The books think that he's more likely to win 2 races than not. So again, I would say that's a pretty good case in and of itself for him.
I agree. Yeah, and that's why he made my list. It was a no-brainer. I mean, for him as well.
Yeah, next up for me, Daniel Hendrick. He's returning, going to continue to pilot that 19 truck. That's a solid truck. We've seen Christian Eckes have a lot of success in it. Hendrick had a good amount of success last year. Was certainly disappointing at times, but very, very consistent throughout the year. I think he only had a handful of finishes outside of the top 10 all year when it comes to points racing, which is going to be much more important this year. I think that Daniel Hendrick's going to continue to do that. I think he'll find his way into the chase. Daniel Hendrick makes my chase, Rod. Does he make your chase?
He does not, but his teammate does. How did this happen? It's weird that we both were on opposite sides of a team. And again, another one of those guys, much like Justin Haley. I know Daniel Hendrick is consistent. I know that this is a driver that we can count on to be that way all season long. But my problem is that now, I mean, Daniel Hendrick's already been in this last year. Is there that same drive? I don't know. Not that these racers never go out with any driver determination, but I don't know. Sometimes when you don't get where you want to be, you start to get a little bit complacent, and maybe that's where he is this season. So I'm going to go with his teammate, Tyler Ankrum, who is not complacent, who is a guy that is going to go out there. And I've consistently given him the nod, year after year after year. He made the Final Four last year as well. And a guy that I know is going to make the chase. I just know that he finished 4th, like I said, last season, a win, 8 top 5s, 15 top 10s, very quietly just put himself where he needed to be. Not very heralded on the broadcast, although I bang the drum for him
heralded on this broadcast, Rob.
Heralded on. I mean, listen, I was his Silver Surfer, man. I was the guy that was out there telling everybody that he was coming. And so I'm doing it again this year. I'm all on Tyler Ankrum's train. Plane, boat, whatever he's driving, trucks, I'm all aboard it. So give me Tyler Ankrum to be in the chase.
Yeah, I'm not. So there's that. Next up for me, somebody whose train I am all on. That's Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs coming back for another season. We've obviously seen the build-up, right? He comes in as a rookie, struggles a bit, actually missed the playoffs in his rookie season, which was kind of a surprise for everybody. But then he goes out and wins 2 races to open up the playoffs, and he's really looked good ever since. Last year, had a great season. did he end up one of our Final Four drivers? I don't think he did.
He just missed it.
Just missed it. Yeah, he had some bad luck there at the end, but made the playoffs, looked good. And he's in one of the better trucks in the field. We know the front row trucks are good. And they always are. Lane Riggs is a great driver. One of these young guns that I think we'll be talking about for years to come. I think we're going to see him in the chase. Again, this was a pretty easy selection for me to include Lane Riggs.
Yeah, Lane Riggs had 5 top 5 finishes in the final since Bristol in the playoff run, right? So it was Bristol. He won 3rd at New Hampshire. Bad day at the Roval, but whatever. 5th at Talladega, 3rd at Martinsville, and then 4th at Phoenix. So there's no way he's not going to make the chase format this year. Yeah. If it's top 10 drivers, he's going to be one of the top 5, let alone the top 10.
Yeah, and I mean, so truck championship odds are weird because they're not listing all the odds. They've just given us a handful of drivers, which is kind of a strange thing. But, I mean, we'll take what we can. There's only 5 drivers listed, but of the 5 drivers listed, he is by far the shortest one. So, and, had they come out with a list of all of the drivers, he would be the favorite, I think, in most people's eyes. So, pretty easy to put in there. So, next up for me, we're going to stick in the front row camp and jump to his teammate, Chandler Smith. I think that Chandler Smith put together a solid year last year, was definitely more disappointing than we thought he was going to be. But another one of these guys that, took a step back. He was up into the Xfinity Series, had that Joe Gibbs ride for a time, had to come back to reset a little bit. I think there was definitely some personal stuff going on last year with him. Maybe all those distractions and that kind of stuff is over this year. We get a more focused Chandler Smith, but I just think this front row team is really, really good. And they're going to solidly put trucks up front with chances to win each and every week. Chandler Smith, we've seen through his time with Kyle Busch Motorsports, going into Xfinity, and then coming back down to the Truck Series, has been a solid driver, good driver. He'll find his way into the chase as well.
I mean, he got off to a hard start last season, right? He was all on it. He had top 10 finishes. He had that win at Bristol in the spring. Fell on a couple of hard races between, it looked like the Craftsman Series at the Black Tires Towers. What? Okay, I'm a Rockingham. Duh. Yes. Hello, Rod. Read the ink right there. Between Rockingham and Kansas. Didn't have a good stretch there, but it kind of jumped back on the horse. But really had just fell apart. His season fell apart at Darlington and had a string of really bad finishes. And for Chandler Smith, like you said, it's not going to be hard for him to be one of the top 10 drivers by the end of it. He still was 8th. Regardless of his just bad stretch. So if he can suffer that much of a collapse in the back end of the season and still finish 8th in points overall, there's no way he's not going to kind of duplicate the success enough to get him into the chase.
Yeah, and in the regular season, like just put together enough to be top 10 at the end of the year. I don't think that's going to be much of a stretch for Chandler Smith. I also don't think that's going to be much of a stretch for Ty Majeski. Of course, your 2024 Truck Series champion. He's been a staple in the sport. He's been a guy that has traditionally been good. He's no longer going to be driving the 98 truck. Now we'll have to get used to seeing him in that bright yellow number 88 truck with the Menard sponsorship on it. He's moving over to be the flagship guy. I think that's it. I think that you signed, sealed, and delivered the rest of your career in the Truck Series once you move over to that truck. But that's not a bad deal to have, right? So Ty Majeski, just a solid driver, a guy you can rely on when pianos aren't falling to have good weeks. But even with the bad luck he has, consistently a driver that's going to be near the top, in the points. So I do think that that we'll easily see Ty Majeski, the 2024 champion, in the chase for the championship.
And he'll just be in that truck for the next 35 years because that's what happens when you join the 88 team. You're there for life, buddy. You are a skeleton driving that by the end of it. So yeah, I agree. Majeski can't be left out of the top 10. He's going to be a perennial championship contender, and that's just the way of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And back to the front row trucks, Riggs and Smith, as TK points out, they just won that lawsuit. Don't forget, we all think 2311, but front row is on there too. So a little extra truck money to play with this year, maybe after that settlement has been reached. So there is that. We've got 2 more spots in the chase to fill out, Rod. Christian Eckes, this is an easy play for me. Absolutely love Christian Eckes. I'll talk more about how much I love him here in a minute, but returning back to the Truck Series, it's a dream scenario. He's not getting the 19 truck, but back with McAnally Hilgeman. I think that this might be a Christian Eckes year in many ways. So Love seeing Eckes back in the Truck Series. Love having an opportunity to pick him, bet on him throughout the season. That's going to be a ton of fun. This guy in 2024, last time he was a full-time Truck Series driver, cash tickets week in and week out for us. Hopefully we get that opportunity again this year rather. So yeah, give me Christian Eckes to make the chase, because I just think he's a great driver and back in a good situation.
It is feasible, though, that all three of the McAnally Hilgeman trucks can be in the playoffs, right? We were talking about Ankrum, we talked about Hendrick, and Eckes. Eckes is one that I had on my list, and it was one of the first ones on there, right? It was Riggs and it was Eckes, and that's it. I mean, those guys are going to be racing for many, many wins this year, and I don't see a scenario in which they aren't one of the top three at the end of it as well. Both Riggs and Eckes really just battling it out for who's going to actually take the whole thing home. I don't know that we're going to get a runaway winner in the Truck Series this year.
I don't think so. I find it hard to see that. I mean, had we had this format last year, I think Corey Hyman, Connor Zilic would have clearly run away with both titles. I don't see that in the Truck Series. I could actually see that in O'Reilly, which we'll talk about here in a few, but I don't see that in this loaded truck field. So I love that. My final spot, Rod, I went back and forth on a lot of drivers for this one. Who am I going to award the 10th and final position to? I couldn't leave out my guy, Ben Rhodes. I know he's fallen on hard times. Last season was very, very rough for Ben Rhodes, but I think we're going to get a bounce back from Rhodes this year. Changing this format and making it about points racing, that seems like it fits his style. Like, okay, I just got to go out there. This is what I have to do. We've seen him win 2 championships and be a teammate spin away from winning 3 championships when Majeski wrecked and completely cost him the title. But he's the type of guy, much like a Joey Logano, but we compare him a lot, or I do at least, compare him a lot to Joey Logano in the Cup Series. All he has to do is go meet the criteria that's out there. He knows what it is going into the season. So I think that we'll absolutely see Ben Rhodes in the chase, and he will take up my final spot. And do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? The long shot to get in, Rod, of 2-time champion Ben Rhodes.
I do wholeheartedly agree with it as well, because if you just, look at Ben Rhodes, that's the model of a guy that's going to be middle of the road, right? I mean, the last couple of seasons have been kind of tough for him. 8 top 10s in 2025, 9 top 10s in 2024. But before that, 14 top 10s in 2023, 13 top 10s, 16, 14, 13, 13, 12. That the top 10s, that's what you need in the chase to be able to continue to be a top 10 driver, is just go out and keep finishing top 10, because you're getting top 10 points for it. So Ben Rhodes, I think, will return to form this year. I think he's got a lot left in him. And yeah, I can't keep him out of the chase for the Craftsman Truck Series title this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we do get a full list of champion odds at some point, I think I bet on Rhodes 5 separate times last year, because his odds were so long that if he could have got in the playoffs, unfortunately he didn't. But had he got there, we'd seen him do it before, have that underdog type of run. So yeah, I think that if we see him again, in the chase, and we get an opportunity at some point to bet on him, I think you have to, because he can go out and put together that good 7 races and win this title.
Indeed. All right. Well, we'll talk about championships and we'll talk about some win totals. But before we do, I want to tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog has got you covered for the big game. Choose a player and reveal whether you've unlocked a gimme pick, followed by a boost builder tied to the big game. Underdog is celebrating by hooking up players with bigger boosts. Just submit a boosted entry to unlock an even bigger boost on the next one, all the way up to 60%. Talked earlier about that Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown. Well, Underdog has also got you covered there. Kenneth Walker, higher than a half of a rushing and receiving touchdown. Get your 0.72 times your entry. Go hook that up and then go to Kalshi. Go do all kinds of stuff. Kenneth Walker is probably going to score in this game, so you might as well profit from it. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code RACESGPN. Let's talk about Rhythm for a second. Rhythm has crushed the NFL this season, especially on props. Last season, they were even better in the playoffs. They had a 22-12 reception prop record. How about 6-1 on passing TDs, 9-4 on rush yard props? It just keeps getting better and better. Plus, it's super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or make your own. Play with the sliders. Looking to go premium? Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25. That'll go hand in hand with my under under 4.5 players to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Kenneth Walker just scores, and that'll be it.
There you go. Speaking of the Super Bowl, Old Fashioned Football checking in the comments says, I love these two dudes. We love you too, Old Fashioned Football, Justin. And we love Miranda too, obviously. But make sure you go check out their show. They did Why the Seattle Seahawks will win the Super Bowl. Obviously, a lot of lies and misinformation in that show. So warning to you. But last week, they had on some guy that was pretty cool and talked about why the Patriots would win. I thought that was a great show. So, go check that out. A lot of fun.
Indeed. All right, we got some win totals, Cody. Who do we think is going to win some races or not, I guess, as the case may be?
Real quick, Rod, I added a spot in here. I wanted to pick champions outright without looking at the odds if you had one. And if yours is the same as the odds, you can wait and give yours out. But my champion pick for the Truck Series is Christian Eckes. I think that he's going to win the championship. Unfortunately, not one of the few drivers they have listed at the time. So let's see if we get some odds, what those odds are. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's because we were late to the game on, first of all, getting the format and then drivers being filled up as well, that they've been slow to get this out. But I'm hoping we'll see something before Daytona or last year. I mean, even between races, they were updating the O'Reilly and Truck Series throughout the year. So hopefully we'll get an opportunity. But I do have Christian Eckes getting to the chase and then going through the chase and becoming the champion, just for what it's worth.
I can't argue with that. And if he would have been one of the guys to pick, I probably would have picked him as well. But I got my own thoughts on the champ, and we'll get to them in a second. But let's get to that win total because same thing.
Yeah, win totals. There are a few win totals over on Caesars, so you can get those. Again, shout out to Caesars being the book that's carrying NASCAR odds the most. So we're going to give them their props. They do have win total on Christian Eckes. You can get it over 2.5 wins plus 115. Absolutely love this one. This is possibly, when we're talking about this in the Discord with Rowdy, this might be my favorite of all of the NASCAR futures. I just think you're not going to hold Christian Eckes back. And we're getting more announcements. Heim's going to probably make some starts. We're going to have Hocevar for 13 races. So that certainly starts taking some wins back off the board that we had put up there from Heim leaving the series full-time. But Christian Eckes is going to get his. He had just some dominant runs. And really, 2 years ago when he was full-time last in the Truck Series, he was the only guy who could hold a candle to Corey Heim and his dominance and would go out and just beat him, especially on the short tracks. I think Christian Eckes gets it done. I think that he finds his way to victory lane. Plus 115, too. We talked about Ruggerio earlier at 1.5, but it's minus 130, harder to bet. Plus 115, I think, is a great number. Christian Eckes, probably, I will say, my favorite of the off-season. Okay. Well, actually, it'll be second place. Connor Zilich under wins. Definitely my favorite bet. But Christian Eckes over 2.5 wins. Definitely second on the board for futures for NASCAR going into the season.
Well, and I'm not even seeing Hocevar being that much of a huge threat to win every single week anyways, because here's the thing. Look, he's got 5 career Truck Series wins, right? He got 4 in 2023 and he did get 1 last year. But here's the thing, right? Corey Heim was the guy that was winning all kinds of races, and Eckes was right on his heels pretty much the entire time. So while we fear Hocevar being in there, Christian Eckes can hold his own against Hocevar.
Hocevar is not. It's not going to be like Kyle Busch coming back in the day, where like every time he starts he's going to win. He'll definitely battle for a lot of them, but he's not going to win all of them. He didn't win a ton, as you pointed out, only 4 when he was full time. Being a more experienced Cup driver now, and that I think will help him certainly. But with as tough as this field is, wins are going to be spread out throughout the field to many of these drivers. And we don't even know what the Ram drivers are going to do yet. A guy like Justin Haley. But yeah, I do think Eckes gets his 3. And even the news that we just got today of Hocevar running 13, I think that did move this because it was plus 105. Now it's plus 115. So it moved the number slightly, but I still love the over.
Indeed. All right. So my driver that I picked is Ty Majeski. We did talk about him being solid and rock solid and now driving the 88 for that team. But the thing is that his win total is set at 2.5. I'm actually taking the under on this one. And look, I know Ty Majeski got 3 wins in 2024, but that was it. That's the most that he's had in a single season in his entire career. In fact, in the Truck Series, believe it or not, he's only got 6 career wins. Like it doesn't feel like it, right? Ty Majeski.
I would have bet the over on that. I mean, thinking about it, that's probably right.
Yeah.
But it feels like he's won a lot more than that.
Now, 2 races.
Especially when we always get him at plus 150 on short tracks to win. You think he'd have won a lot more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, Ty Majeski, yeah, hammer the over on this one, right? No, because like I said, 2 in 2022, 1 in 2023, 3 in 2024. I mean, he's gone 4 seasons without a win, including last season. Now you're asking him to go out and win 3 races in what is a absolutely crowded field, right? It's just, I don't know that he's going to pick up 3 wins. He could pick up 2. Yeah, I could see maybe 2, but I don't see 3 wins from Ty Majeski, especially now in a new truck, in that 88 truck, which has been allergic to wins for the last few seasons. You know,
True.
it's tough, right?
Is it camouflage from pianos though?
That's true. I mean, there could be a big yellow piano in his future, but yeah, I mean, 2 wins I can see a path to, but it's just tough to see him match a career high from a couple of seasons ago when he was having a really dominant season and ended up winning the championship.
Yeah, I don't disagree with this at all. As TK points out, less races. We only have 25 races in this. You're counting guys like Heim, like Eckes, Cup guys that come down and steal wins. We have, I think it's actually 5 road courses now that they took the Roval off in the fall, but still a lot of road courses where you might get some different guys. Do we see an SVG or Zillage pop down, steal those types of wins? And Majeski's not going to win, I guess, on those types of races anyways, most likely. But Eckes being back in the series on short tracks is a huge threat to Majeski's potential dominance on them. Plus, you add in Lane Riggs. So, yeah, I completely agree. I'll take the under on this one as well.
Indeed. All right. Well, then you gave out Christian Eckes as your championship pick earlier, but you've got another championship pick that you want to give out as well with some pretty good odds.
Yeah. So, again, it's weird. There's 5 guys listed to win the championship. So, if you want to bet, you can bet those guys on the no, which is very not positive EV option because they're very low. But 5 guys are listed: Chandler Smith, Lane Riggs, Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum listed for you, Rod, and Grant Enfinger to win the championship. Yes, no's. I'm going to take of these guys on the board. The one I like the best is Grant Enfinger, 12-1. Again, a veteran guy. We talked about him at the very top. He was our first guy in the chase. He is very good at just getting things done and getting to where he needs to be. Now you take it to where he just has to be really good over 7 races. That fits right into his wheelhouse. That's what he can do. Not going to be the guy that wins every single week, but he can be the guy that runs 3rd place every single week. That might be enough to win the championship. So 12-1, I think you're getting great value on Grant Enfinger. So he'll be my official championship bet at 12-1.
Yep. I do like this one. Again, like you said, just for consistency's sake. And that was exactly what the chase was meant to bring out and to reward. So I can't hate this one. Plus, you know me, I love the finger. All right. Lane Riggs. I know that he's plus 285. I know that it's not the sexiest of prices. I know that it's not one that you would go run to the ticket or the counter right now and place, but you probably should, because you want to talk about a dude that just straight hated that he missed the opportunity to race for a championship last year. It just killed him to have that stretch where he was out, right? And I just, there's revenge, and then there's revenge. Lane Riggs deserved, I think, to be competing for the championship last year, and I think he knows that. Obviously, we talked about the stretch that he had to close out the season, right? The 4th at Phoenix, the 3rd at Martinsville, the 5th at Talladega, the 3rd at New Hampshire, the win at Bristol, right? Like that's if you put this in the chase format, that is a hell of a run. Obviously, Heim spanked everybody and would have won, but I mean, that's the kind of run minus Heim that you end up getting the championship from. So I feel like Lane Riggs on the comeback, on the revenge tour, gets his revenge and wins the championship this year. Again, it's not going to be easy. He's going to have tons of people to fight with. And like you said, Cody, if we get odds on Eckes, I would definitely consider doing Eckes as well. But Riggs is a lock for me. And then I took a swing at Tyler Ankrum, like you said, 22 or 20-1 rather for Tyler Ankrum. Again, he finished 4th last year.
So short, 20-1. Look at this field, Rod. Look around at all these drivers. Tyler Ankrum's the guy you want.
Yeah, I do, in fact, because
didn't even make my chase.
Where was he last year?
I don't care. He's not. The field's completely different this year. It's tougher.
Whatevs, man. I still give him a shot. I think that this is a good year for him. I'm ready. I'm ready for Tyler Ankrum. Bring me all the Tyler Ankrum.
I love the Riggs pick. I think he is the clear-cut favorite and should be the guy that wins. I like the odds to be a little bigger, but that's okay. It's just kind of swapped our faces more than anything, Rod. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, there you go.
That's what
why
AI,
we don't
that's what
wanna
AI
see-
gave us.
That's what AI gave us. It wasn't great. I don't think we want to see me without a beard because it would not look good. But you just
Holy
look like me on your body. Sometimes AI is not really that great, to be honest with you, Rod. I mean, all I said was swap the beards, and it didn't really listen to me.
No, it did not. See, this is why the AI overlords are not taking over anything yet.
All right, Rod, you want to recap the Truck Series stuff real quick?
We can do that.
Or we want to do it at the end? Well, let's do it at the end.
Yeah, let's do it at the end.
Okay.
All right, let's turn
talk
our
O'Reilly
attention to the. Yeah, let's talk O'Reilly. This is we'll do the 12 drivers for O'Reilly, and then we'll give you our win total and our championship picks for that as well.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so same thing, right? They're going to be taking this format on for the first time, but there is 32 races in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So, and they will be doing a 8-race chase. Is that right? I should have had all this info in front of me, Rod.
Okay.
But yes, 8-race chase. I do believe it is. So, again, same thing. So yeah, we're going to roll with that. 12 drivers for the final amount of races here. It's actually 10 races. So, no, wait, is it? Fuck, I don't know. It's 8, I think. All right, I'll let you look it up. All right, let's kick it off, Rod. I am going to start with one Mr. Second Place himself.
Yep. Look at Cody. Cody left the stream because he couldn't bear to talk about Sheldon Creed anymore. That's Mr. Second Place himself.
Well, corporate gambling doesn't want you to know about Sheldon Creed, but I'm going to tell you about Sheldon Creed. Look, he's back for another season with the Haas team. There's no reason to think they're switching over to Chevy, which actually is probably a bonus for them. Ford clearly not interested in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in any way, shape, or form. So they'll have that Hendrick Junior Motorsports partnership. That's going to be great for them. Creed, while he cannot find his way to victory lane, very, very solid driver. Week in and week out, he'll make the chase. Easy pick for the first guy up.
Yeah, I 100% have him there as well. I mean, I'll talk about what I feel his winning potential is for this season, but yeah, Chase for sure. Sorry, I had to sneeze there real quick. So, yeah, thank you. No, yeah, I there's no way that Sheldon Creed, as consistent as he is year in and year out, is not going to make the chase.
Yeah, completely agree. And then just to explain it fully, it is 12 drivers for the O'Reilly Auto Parts, and it will be 9 races. That's where I was thrown off. So it's 10 for Cups, 9 for O'Reilly, 7 for Craftsman Trucks. So they will run those final 9 races as their chase. Next up for me on the list, Carson Kvapil. Put him in here. A bit of a weaker field this year. I think that helps Kvapil. I think we see him kind of take a little bit of the next step. I think there was definitely some disappointment around him last year, but we also saw the positives, right? There was the flashes. We saw the this is what he can be. Got to clean up some of the mistakes, but I think at the end of however many races it is, what did I say? There's 32. Or wait, I don't even remember. Whatever, it doesn't matter. At the end of so many races, he'll be in the chase as one of the 12 best drivers. It's NASCAR Gambling Podcast After Dark. I'm not trying to do more math than I need to.
Well, and I don't try to do math at all, right? That's why I let Ryan and Greg at Win the Race do it for me, because I'm terrible at math. But no, listen, when you talk about 12 drivers and expanding the field, it's easy to have a guy like Carson Kvapil in this, because there's just no way that a guy who finished inside of the top 4, and last season, he can't completely whiff on it this year. And like you said, now I know he'll be splitting rides, right? He's not all in the one this year, but I still think that's not for it.
I don't know. I think he is now just in the one, because originally he was going to be in the one in the 88, but last we saw it's all the Cup guys in the 88 now. I don't know. I don't know that there's been more clarification on that. I think he might just be in the one car now.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah,
well, but it does say that Connor Zilch will be in the one as well.
So maybe, I don't know. Is he driving the 9 then? I don't know. I'm still confused on, like I get why they're doing it for the JRM thing. It's all about sponsors and where the money is and it's coming from. He's running a full season. It's going to be all JRM. Unlike Rajah, Rajah will be different. He's going to run some for Jordan Anderson, but Kvapil will be full JRM. That's really all that matters. Made the championship 4 last year. Even though I said there was some disappointing stuff, he still was pretty good at the end of the day. So we'll take that. Somebody else that was pretty good at the end of the day last year, the 2025 champion, Jesse Love, back to defend it. I think he'll easily make the chase. I mean, I don't think there's much more you need to put into it than that. He's going to win races. He's proven that, and clearly he can put it together and win the championship at the end of the day, despite not being the most dominant car on the season. But he'll easily make the 12 race chase, or the 12 driver chase, rather.
Yeah, there's no way he's missing out on that one. We love Love, and we're going to continue to love Love, and he'll love his season next year. You can't leave him off of this.
Yeah, somebody else we love, Justin Allgaier. There is not a chance in hell. He'll have to miss multiple races to not make the chase. That's the only way he's not getting in. I think this one's about as simple as it can be. This format Justin Allgaier is going to love this format. This format loves Justin Allgaier. He'll easily be in the chase. And I would argue he'll probably be the number 1 seed going into the chase.
How much of a happy dance do you think he did when he heard that they were going back?
There
to the
couldn't
chase?
have been many people happier. Maybe Denny Hamlin a little happier than him, but in the series he's in and with the talent he has and with the field he's up against, Allgaier had to be one of the happiest guys. So
my question to you then, Cody, so we continue this chase format for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons. How many championships do you think Justin Allgaier can take home in this series? Will he be a Jimmy Johnson?
I don't want to swell. He might be a little old for that. And so the problem with predicting that is you're going to get Ty Gibbs that comes up through the series. You're going to get Connor Zilich that comes up through the series. You're going to get William Byron that comes up through the series. You're going to get Chase Elliott. Like all these guys have come up while Allgaier's been here, won championships and dipped while Allgaier just finally got his, right? So spoiler, yeah, he's probably going to win it this year, but next year, who comes up that takes over? Like the thing with him is if you get, like, he wouldn't have won last year in this format. It would have easily been Zilich, right? So I don't know that you can chalk a bunch up to him. I think he'll win this year. But I think it's hard to predict him winning a bunch, especially at his age too. It's, had this come 10 years ago, that might have changed it. Although I don't know, he's beating guys like Gibbs, like Gregson, some of these other guys that were in the series and, for a flash before they jumped up to the Cup Series. But it's definitely a positive for him for sure.
Indeed. All right. Who's next?
Yeah. Next up, the Hendrick Motorsports group is going back full-time racing in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Potential next driver of the 48 car. They seem to love him more than we do, but I do love him enough to put him in the chase, and that's Corey Day. He's going to be running full-time for Hendrick Motorsports. If you don't make the chase running full-time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for Rick Hendrick, you better go get a job at McDonald's, buddy. That's all I got to say, because if you don't make the chase, you got some serious fucking problems.
Yeah, he's obviously on my list as well, and there's just that thing where he is the next anointed one, right? And he has a lot of expectations on him this year, but he's also got the equipment, he's got the team, and he's got the name on the hood to get it done. And 12 drivers, right, Cody? And I don't know who else I could replace him with. And I did some digging, right? I literally was like, okay, Day, but then who could I replace him with? And there was nobody that I could really replace him with.
Yeah, it gets a little hairy at the bottom of the board trying to figure out who those final couple guys are going to be. But how do you leave off the Hendrick Motorsports O'Reilly Auto Parts? I don't care who's driving the car, honestly. This car has got to make the chase or you are not cut out for this. So we'll see. I'm still skeptical on how Day's season will go. Probably going to be some good opportunities to fade him, but he should have it. And Kyle Larson handpicked him. We saw this once before. Jeff Gordon handpicked a guy, and he ruined Jeff Gordon's career because he won more.
That guy didn't do very well, did he?
That was the worst thing Jeff Gordon could have ever done, because it probably cost him about 6 more championships. But nonetheless, that's how it is. So, and it's going to be another JRM car, as TK points out. But with the Hendrick backing, it's going to be a playoff car. So another car, William Sawalich, I think, he didn't make the playoffs last year, had that rough start, made so much money fading him. But at the end of the year, he turned it around. He got things figured out, and we made money on him. And now you go into a second year with JGR full-time in the best cars in the garage, in my opinion. This is going to be a huge year for William Sawalich. Easily going to cruise into the chase for me. and could be definitely a sleeper guy to win the title even or compete for it. I don't know. I'm not going to call my shot on him to win the title. I don't think he will, but I think he'll be in the mix a lot this year, and I think we're going to be very impressed with what we see out of Williams Swalwich.
Well, you think of the guys that pretty much finished ahead of him in the points last season, Eric Almirola, not even full time. And like you said, it took him a while to kind of get accustomed to actually driving this particular car, a lot like Chase Briscoe, right? It took him a while to figure out how to drive a car that was this good. But for Williams Swalwich, can he be better than a Dean Thompson, Ryan Sieg, Jeb Burton? Christian Eckes is gone for sure, right? Nick Sanchez gone already as well. Yeah, and Connor Zilic gone. So some of these guys kind of taking up these spots. All he's got to do now is kind of move up a couple of spots in that lineup for him to be a top 12 car by the end of the season. He's on my list as well, mainly because he's leapfrogging some guys that don't necessarily need to or belong on this anymore on this list.
Yeah.
And he should be able to get in front of them.
Yeah, and taking away the win and in obviously really helps a guy like him. He doesn't have to worry about somebody popping up and stealing a spot because they won a race at Daytona, Jeremy Clements making it or whatever the case is. You don't have to worry about that anymore. So in a top tier ride like this, there's almost no reason you should miss. Now, I'll say that, and the next guy on my list, to be fully transparent, was Brent Cruz. I had put him in here because this kid is talented. We are going to see a great season from him, but this format is now to his detriment. He's going to miss the first 3 races of the season because he's not old enough to compete at Daytona, Atlanta, and then I guess maybe they don't go to Dakota, do they? So whatever the next race, anyways, he's going to miss multiple races. That's going to hurt him because now he'll have to make that points difference up. Now I think he's talented enough that he could still possibly sneak his way in, but that's the reason I left Brent Cruz off. Definitely being a guy we'll talk about a lot this year, but just starting in the hole is certainly going to hurt him. So instead, I elected to go with another JRM car and put in Sammy Smith, who I originally did not have in here. So he'll be my final 12th guy to sneak in. Not much excites me about Sammy Smith, if we're going to be completely honest. But he's in a JRM car, and he's a solid driver. We'll give him that, right? He's not a bad driver. He just goes out there and gets solid results, and really, that's what we're looking for in a full regular season points is just go. Be solid. You don't have to win races. You don't have to win a race to get in anymore. That's less important. Obviously, it helps with more points, but I think that, Sammy will just solid enough his way into the chase.
Good enough to finish 8th in the points last season, and that's all you ask for, right? It's a JRM car. If a JRM car misses the chase, you will probably not be driving a JRM car very much longer because there's just that expectation, whether it's Gibbs, whether it's JRM, like those two for sure, and then maybe Haas. Those guys will consistently want their cars and then RCR too, right? The top 12. And like you said, there's kind of a cliff after 10. There's a cliff, right? And so the last 2 spots are kind of up for grabs in this as well. So you got to be one of the top 10, in my opinion, to really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know he brings a lot of money, so that's helpful. But if you don't make the chase in a JRM car, again, some conversations probably need to be had. So I think he'll make it. Another JGR car that I love to see, going to be in the playoffs, Brandon Jones. I'm a Brandon Jones stan. Been on him for a long time. Love Brandon Jones. No reason he doesn't make the playoffs again. Those are very fast cars. He's a very good driver. He can put together nice, solid runs, great points days. That's what you're looking for. It's an easy pencil in for Brandon Jones for me.
Well, again, it's just the same type of an argument earlier. You don't see a lot of the top drivers, especially in the O'Reilly series or even, I guess, in the Truck Series. It's hard to see these top teams not put their cars inside of the top 10, let alone the top 10 or the top 5 in this. Brandon Jones ends up finishing 5th on the season last year, right? Just missed the overall playoffs. And for Brandon Jones in his time with the O'Reilly / Xfinity series, he finished 5th last year. He finished 14th in the 2024 and 2023 season, but obviously, those were in some rough seasons with JRM, but 8th, 7th, 6th, 10th, 9th, 10th in 2016. So he's been a solid top 10 driver at the end of the season in pretty much his entire career. So, when you have that much consistency, I feel like you finishing in the top 12 is not that hard of a stretch to imagine.
Yeah, he's been really great, especially, he had that downtime when he went to JRM, but things have been very good for him since returning to JGR. So the terrorist himself, Austin Hill, next up. Look, Austin Hill, as much as he had his demons last year, is a great race car driver. His teammate won the championship. He's going to pick up wins at super speedways likely along the way. He's going to be a guy you can rely on for a top 10, top 5 on an almost week-to-week basis. That's going to easily find his way into the chase. I don't think, again, another guy we just don't – some of these guys, it's just you don't have to spend a lot of time on them. Like, if Austin Hill doesn't make the chase, that's a story in and of itself because he's just a guy that's going to find his way in there.
Perennial lower series driver who occasionally pops up into the Cup Series. But look, he finished 6th overall in spite of losing pretty much everything he had built up until that point. And as much as we, tend to report on the faults of these drivers and the things that they do wrong, you also have to kind of recognize that they can rehabilitate themselves and put themselves back on. So I am willing to give Austin Hill a little bit of the benefit of the doubt to try to get back, because look, up until that point, right, he was a jerk, but he wasn't like that big of a jerk. So, I don't know.
He used to be like such a darling on the show, right? Too. Remember when he was just cashing top 5 for us left and right, and then really he just pegged that red meter on NASCAR Thunder, but he'll be fine. He'll be in the chase. So
there are drivers that I will not let, and no matter how much you draft me, no matter how much you work with me, that thing's still going to be red. I'm not going to let it go green.
We're not going to max it. We'll max it all the way out, but yeah. I think this is the only driver we have as a difference and in our entire chase. I've got Rajah Caruth making it, Rod. He appears to be left off of your list in favor of someone else. He is going to be splitting the season. He'll be in the 88 for Junior Motorsports, but he'll also be running over for one of those teams. What is Jordan Anderson he'll be running for, I believe. So he'll be splitting back and forth. One very big positive for him is when he's not in the 88, it's going to be Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Alex Bowman, guys that are going to be giving great feedback for that car. We obviously saw that car be elite with Connor Zilic in it last year. Now you're going to put those guys in there, continue to get feedback. So when he jumps out and races another car while Kyle Larson tunes it up for him and then he jumps back in, I feel like that's going to help him get throughout the season. I think he'll be able to piece enough together points-wise throughout the Jordan Anderson days to find his way into the playoffs or the chase, as you will. So I do expect Rajah Caruth to make it there. I think we've seen him be a solid driver, right? Not the greatest truck driver, but he was very solid week in and week out. I think he'll continue that in this level, and this is a very good car he's going to, obviously, after what it did last season and the other drivers that are going to be in it this year. So give me Rajah Caruth to make it. Rod, you'd left Caruth off your list. Who do you have instead?
Well, here's the thing. I want Caruth to make the chase. I wholeheartedly am cheering for him. Like you said, the Truck Series, he felt like he sometimes got the raw end of the deal, but in his peakings up inside of the Xfinity Series / O'Reilly Series, it hasn't been all wine and roses, and he's been in Jordan Anderson equipment in that span as well. And so, last season, a 22nd at Dover, 29th at Daytona, and then an 18th at Kansas. It's just, can he do enough and can he get acclimated fast enough to get this done, right? Because even in 2023, his average finish was 22.1. And he did finish 14th at Phoenix and Rick Hendrick equipment in 2024. So I don't know. I want him to do it. Let's not get this twisted and say that I'm dogging him, but I think Harrison Burton, there we go. TK jumping right in there. Harrison Burton will probably be more consistent than Caruth, though the 88 car should still be strong. And that is who I have in that spot. Harrison Burton. Look at TK and I on the same wavelength.
Yep.
Yeah, Harrison Burton, right? He was the guy that we were on quite a bit last season, trying to make his way back up. He ended up finishing 12th overall in the points last season, and I feel like that's where he's probably going to be again this year, just on that cutting edge. This is why it was tough, because I wanted to put Caruth in there, right? But Harrison Burton needed to be in there too, and Harrison Burton finishing 12th last year, I don't see him taking a gigantic leap up into the top 5, so he'll be in that 10 to 12, 8 to 12 region. right? And where does that put Caruth? Does that put Caruth better than Burton? Does that put Caruth one worse? I mean, I could very easily see Caruth getting in over Burton, but I had to give the nod to Burton because he was in that season. He was in that series last season and did finish 12th, and probably should have done better, but kind of fell on some hard times there at the end of the season, where he had that 20th place finish at Kansas and then another terrible 34th place finish at the Roval, right? Didn't set him up very well for the rest of the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, I could flip a coin and you could convince me either way on Burton or Caruth, but my coin just happened to fall on the Burton side of it.
Yeah, and Burton's going over to Sam Hunt in the Toyota camp. That team looks to be a lot better. Dean Thompson coming back for another year. You bring Harrison Burton back into the Toyota fold. I think that's huge for him. Harrison Burton and Ryan Sieg were the two drivers I struggled leaving off of this list the most. They're the two drivers I wanted to put on here, and I almost kicked Sammy Smith for one of them, but I just couldn't quite pull the trigger. So Harrison didn't make my list, but I can't argue with you having him on your list because I think he is deserving of being very close to it. We saw him, with AM Racing just point his way in last year. Why couldn't he do that with Sam Hunt this year? I think he absolutely could. So it'll be interesting to see maybe who gets left off if he does make it in. Maybe it is Caruth. Somebody neither of us think will get left off is Sam Mayer. Again, one of the Haas cars. These should be very good cars. And we just expect Sam Mayer to be solid. All these road courses on the schedule. That's great for a guy like him. Yes, you're going to have ringers like SVG and Zilich coming over stealing the wins, but he can still put together good points days on those. Sam Mayer is in my chase as well.
And it was clear where Haas was putting their energy into in NASCAR, right? It was definitely in the Xfinity and now the O'Reilly series because, the Cup Series
was the Cup Series.
was not the Cup Series. And I don't think it's the Cup Series again this season because, like you said, both Creed and Mayer give this Haas equipment the best run for their money and the best opportunity to not only finish in the top 10 week after week, but top 5 and in Creed's case, the top 2. So Mayer is going to be Mayer, right? And we see him. We almost thought he was the better of the Haas drivers last year because of the run he went on. But then Creed decided he was like, wait, no, never mind. I've been here longer. I want my flowers, damn it. So, but yeah, Mayer's going to be in the mix. Hard to see him outside of the top 12. Yeah,
completely agree with you. And then last but not least, the Ty Gibbs owned number 54, Taylor Gray. Tay. Roddy not only makes my chase, he makes your chase, a.k.a. making you a Ty Gibbs fan. It all comes full circle. Love Taylor Gray. And again, these JGR cars are going to be fast week in and week out. I think for Sawalich and Gray in particular, more than anybody else, a second season in these Gibbs cars for them is just going to be super, super huge advantage. They've now had a season to learn how to drive really fast JGR cars like we saw with Briscoe, right? Took a little time to figure it out. Now they've had that opportunity. They get the fresh slate to come out and race for points. I think it's going to be a great season for Taylor Gray, and he's my 12th driver making it in.
We've been shifties from the beginning. I cannot, no matter who owns his car, you can't pull my shifty card. I'm going to stick with the man. I agree. I mean, it's like the Gibbs equipment is going to be locked into the chase. JRM equipment is going to be pretty much locked into the chase. It's just that's the reality that we live in, and that's where the money goes. That's where the talent is right now, and especially in this first run at the chase, that the bigger teams are going to throw every bit of resource they have into getting their drivers in there. And when you're as talented as Taylor Gray is, you're going to make the chase, and you're going to make the. I not only will he make the chase, Cody, but I have a feeling that he's going to be in the Final Four by the end of the season too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he will be definitely in contention. So we'll roll with it. Over on the win totals, there is a few options available. I've got two that I really like. One's Brandon Jones, over 1.5 wins, minus 130. The juice is not favorable on any of the matchups. I mean, there's things like Sheldon Creed over a half a win I would love to play, but not at minus 180. There's things like Carson Kvapil under 1.5, but minus 160 makes it tough. Going to be less inclined to play a lot of these, but Brandon Jones, the one I like the most, over 1.5 wins. I think he'll get that done. And Sammy Smith under 1.5 wins. I had him squeaking into the chase, but I don't think he's winning 2 races. I think that is crazy that he is set at 1.5 and not half. I don't know that I would take the over on a half. I'm certainly not taking over on 1.5. So those are the two that I would look at when it comes to the win totals.
Yeah, it's tough to have Sammy Smith winning more than a race this season. And for Brandon Jones, with Connor Zilic being gone, that just opens up the floodgates for a lot of folks to be able to win races. Now, of course, he's not gone completely, but as a full-time driver, that does kind of open up a couple of races for people to win. But one of them, sadly, Cody, and I know you just talked about his over being juiced, Sheldon Creed. Let's just continue the cycle. His under a half of a win is set at plus 150. The books seem to think that he's going to do something he hasn't done in his entire career, which is win a race. Now, if they set the over under for second place finishes at 0.5, I would take the over and then some. But unfortunately, we're talking wins. And I get it, right? I'm going to be cheering my ass off for a Sheldon Creed win. I want to see that guy finally get over the hump. He's our favorite Canadian driver that's not from Canada, but actually from California. I am a Sheldon Creed stan from the beginning, but unfortunately, he hasn't won a race yet. And he just comes so close. And the aw shucks moments continue to pile up. So here's the thing, Cody. This is the bet that continues to cash until it doesn't. And so far in his career, it's never cashed. Is this going to be the year? Maybe. Can it be the year? Probably. But I'm going to bet that it won't be the year.
Purely based on the numbers, the under is clearly the smart bet. You get into plus money, and he's never done it in the Xfinity Series. Now, he's unlike Daniel Hendrick. We've seen him win in the Truck Series. So I don't know why it's not clicked in the Xfinity Series, the O'Reilly Series. I think that it will this year. I do think he finally gets a win, but I also thought that last year, so we will see. I tried to parlay the under win with him to win the championship because that would be a very Sheldon Creed thing to do, but it won't let you do that, unfortunately. So not an option, Rod. Speaking of championship, just for, hold on.
Okay, I want to say, though, just to wrap up this whole Creed thing, this is the one bet that you will probably feel good if you do end up losing, right? There are bets. Not all bets are created equal. Yes. Some of them you can cash and be happy about. Some of them you can lose and still be happy. I would be happy even if I lost this bet.
You take it purely because of the number, right? Like, hey, you're getting plus 150 for something that's never happened. And if he does win, like seeing Ryan Preece yesterday, after all the chaos and like seeing him get into victory lane, it was worth not betting hitting the million Kyle Larson outrights that I happened to bet. Because it was like, it was great to see him get into victory lane. You love to see it for a guy like that. So, that's a good way to look at it. TK was saying back when we were talking about Cruz, he still thinks he'll make the chase. The books do too. Cruz is plus 650 to win. So they're thinking Connor Zilic in this kid, which in a JGR car, we certainly could see. Again, we both left him off, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him in there. I'm not willing to bet him at plus 650 knowing he's going to miss races, but if he makes it to the chase, it won't matter if he missed the races or not, really. So we shall see. I've got 3 outrights that I like in the championship market, Rod. We're going to start the long shot. Sheldon Creed at 15-1. For all the reasons we just said, he's a very good driver, a consistent driver. He doesn't even have to win this championship. 15-1, I think, is a big number for him. So I like it. I'm going to take it. Sam Mayer, plus 850, I think, is a good number for a solid driver. He's been a guy that we've seen can win each and everywhere. They've been strong. I think this Haas team might be better now that they're going back to Chevrolet, back to that partnership with JRM, with Hendrick, and being in the Chevy camp. I think it might help them. Plus 850, I think, is a great number. But we've talked about it really all show when we've been talking about O'Reilly. This format change is just so good for Justin Allgaier. Plus 350, yes, he's the favorite, but this is a case where I think betting on the favorite is the right thing to do. Look, when you look at this field, and I don't think there is a Connor Zilic in this field. Maybe Brent Cruz is really good. I think he is, but I don't know that we're going to get that. Justin Allgaier, his consistency, his ability to just continue to be there and be good is almost unmatched for the length of time he's been doing it in the O'Reilly Series. And now that you're taking away, he has to win in the Game 4 moment, even though he's done it because he did it finally in 2024 and got that championship. But so many times he was the deserving guy. He'd get there and not win. He'd get there and not win. He'd get there and not win. Now he doesn't have to worry about that. Put it together over 9 races. There's nobody I want more than Justin Allgaier. I think he is absolutely worth betting at plus 350 because there is almost no reason he shouldn't win this championship. I mean, this is set up so nicely for him. As you mentioned earlier, there might not be anybody happier about this format change than Justin Allgaier. I don't know what we can predict in the future, who's going to come up and steal those from him. Maybe it's Brent Cruz next year, but this year it's a Justin Allgaier year. Plus 350, absolutely worth it for him to win the title.
And you don't have to convince me of that. If you wouldn't have had him in the dock, I would have certainly had him in the dock because, like you said, this is the Justin Allgaier championship format. This is the heaven sent. This is what Jimmy Johnson was waiting for. This is what Justin Allgaier is waiting for. Just the opportunity to say, I don't have to go out and try to best everybody in this particular race. I just got to be better than most on every single race, right? And that's what Justin Allgaier does. That's why he's been in this series for so damn long, is because he continues to deliver year in and year out. And yes, you're right. Championships weren't there, but the format was not always conducive to Justin Allgaier winning a championship. Now the conditions are right. He gets a couple more of these, and I think it starts with this one before he rides off into the sunset as one of probably the most successful Xfinity drivers out there in the history of the sport. So, yeah, I crown Justin Allgaier champion this year with you, and honestly, it's a no-brainer to me to think that he can't get this done this year, and I'll be cheering for it on a weekly basis. However, if he does not, let's give it back to the man that won it last season, and not only did he win it, but he beat the super favorite in doing so, and Jesse Love, 5-1 for him to repeat as O'Reilly Series champion, to repeat as the series champion of the second tier season or series of NASCAR. But 5-1, it's almost a disrespectful price for the returning champion in a format that, let's face it, right? Jesse Love still probably Connor Zilic. Yeah, he would have won outright and he would have ran away with it at Daytona at the beginning of the year. But, Jesse Love was just as consistent. Jesse Love still put together the kind of runs that put him in the mix and gave him the opportunity to beat Connor Zilic there at the end of the season. And say what you will about the format that he got it done in, he was just racing what he had to race, right? He knew he had to beat Connor Zilic on an oval, which I think a lot of people knew that they needed to do. But for Jesse Love now, he doesn't have to worry about beating Connor Zilic on an oval. Now he's just got to go out and continue to just run the races that he knows he can run. And, if we're talking about Austin Hill being good, obviously Jesse Love is as good, if not better. And for me, if it's not Justin Allgaier, I think Jesse Love takes advantage of not having Connor Zilic in the field full time and sort of pushes Allgaier all season long. I can see this as a 2-horse race for most of the season. We love Love, and we always have, and I think we always will. So at 5-1, that's a fantastic price if Justin Allgaier can't get it done.
Yeah, hard to argue with you, so I won't.
Good, because that's gonna be a long season if we end up arguing with each other. When mom and dad fight, nobody wins.
O'Reilly is the series we typically argue about, but not today.
Well, no, and honestly, I don't know. All season it could be a little difficult because there's not a lot to pick.
Rod's getting on the JGR train, is what I'm hearing.
Let's go over this. Get out your bed. Just kidding. I'm not getting on no damn. Yeah, I can't even. You threw me off. All right. I don't say get out your pen and paper, but we are going to go over our Craftsman Truck Series and O'Reilly Series picks that we just gave you. I started off with Majeski under 2.5 wins at -115 on the Craftsman Truck Series side, and pick Riggs as the champion at +285. And of course the Ankrum long shot at 20-1 for the trucks for the O'Reilly Series. Creed under 1/2 of a win at +150, but again, I won't be heartbroken if he does get that win. And then Love as the champion, the series champion at 5-1. Cody's Truck Series and actually, let's go over my Craftsman Truck Series Chase Series. I'm clicking these things at random and I don't know what's going to pop up. So Craftsman Truck Series Chase picks. I got Riggs, Eckes, Rhodes, Majeski, Ankrum, Ruggerio, Enfinger, Honeycutt, Smith, and Daniel Dye as my Craftsman Truck Series Chase. And then for O'Reilly Series, picking Allgaier, Kvapil, Creed, Love, Smith, Mayer, Gray, Day, Brandon Jones, Austin Hill, William Sawalich, Harrison Burton. Cody's Truck Series and O'Reilly Series picks. He's got Eckes over 2.5 wins at +100. He's picking Enfinger as the champion at 12-1. Has Brandon Jones over 1.5 wins at -130. Sammy Smith under 1.5 wins at -130. Picking Allgaier as the champ at +350. Mayer also at +850, and Creed at 15-1. And then, of course, Cody's O'Reilly Series chase, guys. Creed, Kvapil, Love, Allgaier, Day, Sawalich, Smith, Jones, Hill, Caruth, Mayer, and Taylor Gray. Woo, that was a mouthful.
They wanted graphics, so we went all out on the graphics, Rod.
Seriously, our intern loves the graphics. So, wow, man, this turned into a mega episode as well, Cody.
I sort of thought that it probably would, since we were going to shove both series into one, but yeah, we're running out of time. The season is here, Raj.
It seriously is too. We could have done this sooner, books, if you would have just put the damn stuff out. We would have been done with this already. But no, listen, I don't care.
No, yeah. Little mega episode for you. A lot of fun. Thanks for everybody who's hung with us live. Thanks for everybody who's listened the whole time on the podcast. We'll be back Friday, one final episode for the week. And we're going to turn it into a call-in show, and we'll probably actually be able to take your calls this time. But we're going to be doing the same thing just with the Cup Series, giving out our predictions. We're going to give out our chase drivers, give out our favorite futures bets for the Cup Series, and we're inviting you to join us as well and give out your predictions, right? Call your shot. Who do you think is going to be good? Who do you think isn't going to be good? Who's your champion? What's your best bet going into the offseason? All that stuff. So join us. You'll be able to call in on the Discord. You'll be able to listen to the show on the Discord this time even. It's going to be a fun time. I believe we settled on 2 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow, Rod, correct?
We sure did.
So 5 o'clock Eastern time on Friday afternoon, 4 in the Central here, 2 obviously over on the Western coast there. So join us for that. Call in. We'd love to hear you guys' predictions. Going to be a fun time as we head into the final weekend of the offseason, Rod.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we worked out all the kinks on the recap show a couple of nights ago. So you all on Friday will benefit from the experiment that was our Clash call-in.
Yeah. And then next Monday, Daytona 500 mega episode. You thought this was a long one? Oh, yeah, buddy. We got some time carved out for that one. It's going to be fun. Make sure you join us. Go ahead and click that subscribe button over on the YouTube, on the Spotify, on the Apple Podcast, wherever you listen to us. We appreciate it. Leave those ratings and reviews. That stuff helps us out a ton going into the season like this, helps us get the momentum, spreads the good word, brings you more things like call-in recap shows, extra episodes, all that fun stuff. So help us out. We'd appreciate it. And sup, Frank? You're just in time for us to leave. But go back and listen to the show. It's a lot of fun. So all right, let's get out of here, Rod. Follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff over there. See you guys tomorrow.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find everything that I am up to on that as well. Like Cody said, we'll see you tomorrow with our call-in. Make sure you're joining the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. Get in on the conversation as well. Till then, folks, sleep well. We'll see you tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow sometime. I'll see you all in my dreams. Till then, let's make NASCAR betting fun again. Let's go racing and let it ride.